Life in an alternate universe would be strange to live in. A world where you wouldn't be sure of how to fit in if everything you've been taught was the complete opposite. You'd probably go mad trying to find your place too. But not everyone has to go through that. Not if the world you originated from has a link to the new one. That was the case for high school student Sunset Shimmer. Once a unicorn and student of Princess Celestia from Equestria, her human form in life wasn't any different. She was still one of the brightest of her age. Mostly everyone in this world so far had the same name as their pony counterparts. The only difference here is that she had friends. Friends she had made thanks to the Ponyverse Princess Twilight Sparkle, who she tried to steal from a few years ago. With her help, Sunset was able to let her hate go, and befriend her along with the human versions of the main five, now 6. Even the human world Twilight finally showed up, and it was up to Sunset to return the favor by helping her. Even after Sunset's redemption, she still had a lot to learn about friendship, but with the help of her new friends, she began to understand how important their bond was. Together, they lived as normally as possible, and once in a while, saved the school they attended from power-hungry monsters from Equestria. With another semester coming to a close, winter had snuck up on them again. Snow had fallen overnight, covering the grounds with sparkly white ice. Their homes and school had roofs that now resembled something straight out of a Christmas card. Last year, Sunset spent the holidays at her friends' houses. The moments they spent together were some she wouldn't soon forget. As Sunset sat outside on the staircase, dressed in her winter clothes, she couldn't help but to wonder what Equestria was like now. Had snow fallen there yet? What was Princess Twilight up to now? Luckily for her, she had a way to find out. Reaching inside her backpack, she pulled out a diary and began to write in it. You see, this diary was magic, and was her way of reaching out to Princess Twilight if she needed any advice. Tapping her chin with her pen, she thought about what to write. Eventually, she jotted down a simple question. Dear Princess Twilight, how are you? Has Equestria been visited by winter yet? She waited a full minute before a response came back to her. The book shone with yellow light as words began to appear below her question. Hello, Sunset. Long time no see. Things are fine here in Equestria. Yes, the weather Pegasi have just begun to change the temperatures here. How about you? Are things all right on your end? Sunset smiled and replied back. Yes, things are all fine here. It's been pretty quiet, to be honest. Applejack was quick to say that was a first the other day when we were talking about how no bad guys have shown up lately. The book glowed again. That sounds like her, all right. Anyways, I hope you're having a happy hearthwarming. Sunset thought for a moment until the realization hit her. Princess Twilight was right. In Equestria, hearthwarming used to be how she celebrated the holidays with the rest of pony kind. Now in the human world, they had something called Christmas. As she began to write back, a flood of memories began to come back to her. She saw herself in the halls of Canterlot Castle, being escorted by Princess Celestia. Her past teacher was now her school's principal here. It was strange, but she suddenly became more aware of how different the two actually were. For the first time, she began to think back to her life in Equestria. How her determination to become the greatest unicorn in existence led to her running away from the one pony that taught her everything she knew about magic. Her anger towards Celestia and the thirst for magical knowledge made her become something she wasn't, and that very grudge took on a form of its own once she came into the human world. It was thanks to Princess Twilight that her evil side was wiped away. She might have made amends with the young princess, but the Celestia of Equestria still had to be faced. Had she found a way to forgive her for all her mistakes? A single tear began to roll down her face as her pen lied still on the page. Looking back down at the diary, she picked up where she had left off. Her hand began to shake as she chose her next words carefully. She waited for a reply. This time, no answer came. Of course, she had expected as much. Before she was about to close the diary, it glowed again. The words appearing were not written by Twilight, but by another. Someone she never thought she would see or hear from again. Dear Sunset, I am writing to you because I feel that it's something I have to do. Could you wait by the mirror tonight? Make sure that every pony on your end is nowhere in sight. Your teacher, Princess Celestia. Sunset stared at the diary for some time after that. Was she imagining it? Or did the Celestia of Equestria just send her a letter? She reread the message and felt her hand shaking as she tucked the book away. Tonight was going to be an odd one. After classes were over, Sunset and her friends left in high spirits celebrating the end of midterms and headed straight for Pinkie Pie's house to party. The lively party animal was just as energetic in the human world as she was in the pony world. Together, the 7 friends ate and drank from the large soda stash Pinkie had. It was 9 o'clock when Sunset remembered where she was supposed to be. Telling her friends that she had an appointment to make, she hurried outside and caught a bus ride back to school. Her heart beating faster than normal. She couldn't tell if it was from how fast she ran or how nervous she felt. Soon, the campus of Canterlot High came into view. The bus stopped, allowing Sunset to depart. Once the bus left, she was alone. The cold chill of the winter night made her wrap her scarf tighter around her face. She walked towards the statue of the horse that stood in front of the campus grounds. It was also home to the mirror that acted as a portal to Equestria. Sunset stood perfectly still, waiting for the sound of someone emerging from the mirror. But nothing happened. Had she really imagined that Princess Celestia wrote to her that afternoon? Or could she not bring herself to face her former student, because, like her, she too felt disappointed in her? Sunset couldn't bear to have another Christmas wondering about the wise old alicorn. She would travel through the mirror herself if that's what it took for her to see the princess again. Suddenly, as she was coming around the corner, she could see an outline of someone standing perfectly still, facing the school. Sunset quietly approached the figure, and when she saw who it was, her pupil shrank. It was Celestia. Her human form was the same as the principal here, but Sunset felt as if she had known this Celestia longer, because she was the princess she had left behind all those years ago. I was beginning to wonder if you'd show up, Celestia said, as if this was just another lesson. How long has it been since we saw each other, Sunset? Too long, Your Highness, said Sunset, not sure if she should approach the woman just a couple feet away. Celestia turned to face her ex-student. Her pink eyes scanned Sunset, giving her that same old feeling as if she was being x-rayed. This silence was worse than she had imagined it. She wished the princess would glare at her. Yelling seemed like an appropriate thing to do too. After all she had done, she deserved it. Still, Celestia looked at her, not with anger, but with a mixture of sadness and guilt. Sunset couldn't take it anymore. Her legs gave way, and she fell to her knees. Oh, Celestia, I'm so sorry, she said in a cracked voice. You were so patient and kind to a wreck of a student like me. In her scared and saddened state, she hadn't realized that Celestia had drawn close, and had crouched down so that they were face to face. Her teacher's eyes showed tears, as she gave her a warm smile. No, Sunset, she said, wiping away her student's tears. It is me who should be apologizing to you. I should have done so much more to prevent what happened. After all that time while my sister was still imprisoned on the moon, I still managed to lose the ones I cared about the most. Sunset couldn't speak. Words failed her as the princess embraced her. Sunset shakily wrapped her hands around Celestia's back. So, Can you ever forgive me for being so blind? Asked Celestia. Sunset tightened her grip as the two wept in each other's arms. After some time, they let go and stood up once more. I forgive you, Celestia, said Sunset, standing tall. And can you forgive me for all that I've done? Celestia smiled warmly at her student. How could I ever hold a grudge against you, Sunset? You are, after all, my first student, and the first true friend I had after years of self-pity. And with that, Sunset watched as the princess backed away through the mirror and back to Equestria. Sunset looked up at the sky. Heading back to the party seemed like a good idea. As the bus made its way back down the road, Sunset looked out the window, feeling lighter than she had in a long time.